initiative to end the Cameroon's colonial conflict. That's the first time we have the pleasure to welcome you here, but I think it's an important topic, and Cameroon is also a very important country in Africa, so we are pleased to hear you about that. Before to give you the floor, I would like to ask to sign our golden book, just a signature. Maybe here there is a pen here. We got one. And after I would give the floor to you, maybe. Yes. This is okay.
Bernadette is fine.
To Bernadette, which is chair of Ambazonia International Policy Commission in Germany and leading this press conference. Okay, Bernadette, you have the floor. You have just to push the button before speaking. Yes, exactly.
So, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning once more, Guy. We are here today because we have the global initiative to end the Cameroon's colonial conflict, has made up of more than a dozen faith and civil society organizations from 3 continents. We are holding press conferences today in Geneva, in Johannesburg, and in New York to announce the delivery of a call to action letter in advance of the United Nations Human Rights Council's 40th session, which runs from the 25th of February till the 22nd of September, demanding that member states mandate an independent international fact-finding mission to investigate allegations of serious human rights violations in the conflict in the western region of Cameroon, known as Southern Cameroons or Ambazonia. Initiated by Southern Cameroonians living in South Africa, the United States, and Europe, the letter has been championed by the International Fellowship of Reconciliation and endorsed by a broad-based and multi-faith group of well-respected peace and human rights organizations, as well as grassroots organizations, both English-speaking and French-speaking Cameroonians, including the Center for Human Rights and Democracy in Africa, Samsoya Center for Democracy and Human Rights, Réseau de défenseurs des droits humains en Afrique centrale, Civicus World Alliance for Citizen Participation, Denis Halle Institute, Pax Christi International, Baptist Peace Fellowship, Presbyterian Church USA, International Peace Research Association, Presbyterian Peace Fellowship, Movement Peace Fellowship, Zagros Center for Human Rights, Truth Telling Project, and the Human Rights Institute of South Africa. On the panel in Geneva are representatives of 3 signatory organizations and 1 partner organization, being the Samsoya Center, represented by Mr. Julius, Réseau de défenseurs des droits humains en Afrique, represented by Madame Maximilian, the International Fellowship of Reconciliation, represented by Derek Brett, and the Ambazonia International Policy Commission, represented by myself and Mr. Yurima. The lack of accountability empowers abusers and drives violence. Reports of serious human rights abuses are circulating on a daily basis on social media, and only a tiny fraction of them are being reported or investigated with any rigor. According to reports from the former United Nations Commissioner of Human Rights, Zaid Rad al-Hussein, the Cameroon government have twice refused his office to access investigate these alleged crimes, which since the crisis began to escalate in 2017. The Human Rights Council can override this denial by mandating the dispatch of a fact-finding mission. So I will then hand over the talk to the next panelist, and that would be Mr. Daphne. He's going to talk on the non-violent history of Ambazonia, starting from the Prime Minister Joad to the NCNC, using the slogans, the force of argument and not the argument of force. Mr. Daphne, over to you.
Okay. Thank you, Doctor. And good morning, everyone. Well, the Southern Cameroons, or what was known as British Southern Cameroons, was a UN trust territory under United Kingdom administration. It was carved out of the defunct German Cameroon after the defeat of Germany in the First World War. It was a mandated territory of the League of Nations administered by the United Kingdom until 1945, when it, like other mandated territories, became a trust territory under the United Nations Trusteeship Council. Situated in the Gulf of Guinea in West Africa, it is found between longitude 8 and 12 degrees east and latitude 5 and 10 degrees north. It has an area of 43,000 square kilometers and a population of about 8 million, making it more populous than 32 nations that are members of the United Nations. It lies between the tropics, blessed with heavy rainfall, volcanic soil, and mineral resources. Buea, the capital, also the capital of the defunct German Cameroon, is found at the foot of Mount Fako, with a height of 13,350 feet. It is the highest peak in West Africa. It is also one of the highest active volcanoes in the world. Other prominent mountains are Kupe Maninguba and Kilum in the north of the country. Southern Cameroons is generally mountainous, while the coast is covered with thick forest and the north is savanna. The Southern Cameroons, which is a victim of bungled decolonization, is bounded to the west and north by the Federal Republic of Nigeria, to the east by La République du Cameroun, and to the south by the Atlantic Ocean and the Republic of Equatorial Guinea. The unfinished decolonization has made Southern Cameroonians the #1 victim of tyranny and annexation. Something must be done to right the wrongs of yesterday and restore the people to their God-given freedom and dignity. The common Southern Cameroonian need to overcome deceit, intoxication, and distortion of facts that come from the Southern Cameroonian CPDM propagandists. If there is only one permanent in human society, it is change. The Southern Cameroon's question is not mere marginalization, deprivation, neglect, or lack of people in strategic position. It is annexation, while marginalization, naked exploitation, among others, are the manifestation of this chronic disease, annexation. It is a political question, a fundamental issue that concerns the sovereignty of a people, their rights to live in dignity, and not a mere cultural issue. Annexation cannot be reformed. Annexation, like apartheid, is an evil, a dominant evil will that possesses those who rule the annexed. To counter annexation, which reduce a people to a subject to foreign power, the solution lies in people power. To end the consequences of annexation, a subjugated people must first seek the political kingdom, turn annexation inside out, and take absolute control of their state of affairs and shape their destiny. No subjugated people anywhere in the world have ever enjoyed freedom and fruits of development. No people, even animals, willfully subject to extinction. The plebiscite albeit the product of an evil mind, was an instrument for the transfer of Southern Cameroon to La République du Cameroun. While this expressed view reveals and confirms La République du Cameroun's annexation hidden agenda, it nevertheless contradicts the two alternatives which constituted the manifesto of the plebiscite and the UN General Assembly Resolution 1608 of April 21st, 1961. If the purpose of the 11 February plebiscite was to transfer the Southern Cameroons to La République du Cameroun, then, how then is it that 1. The UN prescribed a federation of two states of equal status of two countries. 2. The UN prescribed a name, namely Federal United Cameroon Republic. 3. The UN voted for the independence of Southern Cameroons with October 1st as the Independence Day. This was in respect of the territorial integrity of the Southern Cameroons and to guarantee her rights to self-exist either as a partner in a federal union, in association, or on its own. 4. The UN adopted Resolution 1608 prescribing the holding of a post-plebiscite conference to work out modalities for the federal union of two equal states between Southern Cameroons and La République du Cameroun, as well as specifying participants. And 5, although the United Nations General Assembly Resolution 1608 of April 12, 1961 was not implemented to effect the federal union between the two independent nations, the two formed a federation, though without a treaty of union transforming the original entity into the Federated State of West Cameroon for the Southern Cameroons and the Federated State of East Cameroon for La République du Cameroun in 1961, and the two states were represented on the national flag by two golden stars. The restoration of the statehood and independence of Southern Cameroons is legitimate and is defended by international law under the principle of the rights to self-determination of any people, irrespective of their color, creed, or race. It is a historic duty of all Southern Cameroonians to leave a rich legacy for their descendants. No nation is born great. It is the citizen who, through diligence and patriotism, make their nation great. All free nations and free people of the world are governed under democratic constitution. Right from October 1, 1961, to date, Southern Cameroonians have never been involved or have never participated in drawing any constitution to govern their lives. They have been ruled under Napoleonic constitutionalism imposed by the Yaoundé regime. But there comes a time when a people, men, women, and children, summon their courage and cry out, enough is enough. It is the people's unanimous cry for justice, their longing for freedom, that leads God to give deliverance. The power for liberation is in the people and by the people's will. Some Southern Cameroonians did it before in a peaceful manner and through the force of argument, not the argument of force, as we are doing right now. In 1953, under the leadership of Dr. E.M.L. Ndele and John Gu Foncher, Southern Cameroonians came from Kwaja to Dibonche and from Tombel to Ekok and met in Mamfe. This was the first national conference on the political future of Southern Cameroons, in which Southern Cameroonians in solidarity stood up as one man to defend their rights to self-determination and national sovereignty. This was not without opposition, for N.N. Bile and 3 others stood against other MPs under Ndele when they declared benevolent neutrality in Nigerian politics and forfeited all their rights and privileges as members of government and parliament in favor of the national self-determination of Southern Cameroons. The people stood with them, and in 1954, Southern Cameroons attained self-government. 40 years later, exactly April 1993, a replay took place in the historic mountain capital of Boer under the All Anglophone Conference, AAC-1. Unfortunately, the golden opportunity for a historical political revolution was missed, and this led to the postponement of a definitive action. This was followed by the All Anglophones Conference meeting in second session at Bamenda from the 29th of April to the 1st of May, 1994. The following main resolutions were at its first session in April that should the government either persist in its refusal to engage in meaningful constitutional talks or fail to engage in such talks within a reasonable time, the Anglophone Council shall so inform the Anglophone people by all suitable means. It shall, thereupon, proclaim the revival of the independence and sovereignty of the Anglophone territory of the Southern Cameroons and take all measures necessary to secure, defend, and preserve the independence, sovereignty, and integrity of the said territory. Following the proclamation of the revival of the independence and sovereignty of Southern Cameroons, as provided from here above, the Anglophone Council shall, without having to convene another session of the All Anglophone Conference, transform itself into the Southern Cameroons Constituent Assembly for the purpose of drafting, debating, and adopting a constitution for the independence and sovereign state of Southern Cameroons. For the purpose of paragraph 7 above, the above council shall enlarge itself to such other organs or individuals as shall appear expedient, beneficial, or necessary in the interests of Southern Cameroons. The government of La République du Cameroon did not do anything with these resolutions, and the Southern Cameroons National Council, SCNC, with her motto, the force of argument, not the argument of force, was formed to implement these resolutions as the governing body of the Southern Cameroons people. September 29th to 30th, with October 1st, 2001, was the D-Day. On this day, Southern Cameroonians were called upon to choose between continuous annexation, colonization, and slavery on the other hand, and freedom and dignity on the other. The Southern Cameroons National Council, the SCNC, struggled to restore the statehood and independence of Southern Cameroons in a struggle by the patriots of the land. They seek positive change for freedom, dignity, and happiness of their people through peaceful means. The change which SCNC seeks through the restoration of the Southern Cameroon statehood requires mass participation and support to achieve a political solution. Change is based on lofty ideals that take man to a higher height. Change is like a rocket or bullet once fired, no matter what, can never land back on the very point it was released. And man is the motive force for change, and change is for the glory of man. For this glory, SCNC has made many diplomatic trips to the United Nations and many international organizations to correct the wrongs of 1961. Even some of our founding fathers, like John Gu Foncher and Solomon Tandem Muna, were part of such trips before their death. One of such trips, which cannot be forgotten, was on the 30th of March 2005 at the United Nations Human Rights Council in Geneva, 43 years after 21st of April 1961, that any issue about the Southern Cameroons people or state was brought up in the United Nations. The Southern Cameroons National Chairman, Dr. Ngalamfo, via the Unrepresented Nations People Organization, countered the lies that La République du Cameroon presented about the human rights situation in both Cameroons. He submitted a document which was accepted by the Commission, and a reply from La République du Cameroon was also submitted. The SCNC was busy with a referendum among Southern Cameroonians in 2016 when the lawyers and teachers uprising began. The English lawyers and teachers were asking the government for better working conditions through peaceful demonstrations, but they were beaten, brutalized by the military of La République du Cameroon, and some of their union members captured and imprisoned, even as we speak. In 2017, all stakeholders of the Southern Cameroon struggle to self-determination met in Nigeria and formed Southern Cameroon's Ambazonian Consortium United Front, with the main objective to restore the statehood and independence of Southern Cameroons through peaceful means. Under SCACUF, Southern Cameroons got her first TV station, the Southern Cameroons Broadcasting Corporation, SCBC, which is a medium to educate the world about our history, our revolution, and sensitize our people about the state of the revolution, and also run educative and entertaining programs. SCACUF was later changed into an interim government in exile. On the 22nd of September, the interim government called on all Southern Cameroonians to go out in peaceful demonstration with peace plans to tell the entire world that we are restoring our statehood and complete independence. Men, women, and children were shot with helicopter gunships by the forces of La République du Cameroon. In November same year, as a result of the effectiveness of the civil disobedience called by the IG, the President of La République du Cameroon, Paul Biya, declared war on us. And since then, we are at war. I would love to end my talk with a poem written by one of my schoolmates, who tries in this poem to paint a picture of the situation back in Southern Cameroons and in the Cameroons. And the title of his poem is "The Mongo is More Than a River." The Mongo is a river that is a boundary between the two Cameroons. And his poem goes like this. Unauthorized protests east of the Mongo, police deployed. Unauthorized protests west of the Mongo, military deployed. Unauthorized protests east of the Mongo, internet, business as usual. Unauthorized protests west of the Mongo, internet shut down. Unauthorized protests east of the Mongo, catch and release. Unauthorized protests west of the Mongo, catch and charged with terrorism. Unauthorized protests east of the Mongo, persons arrested, 8 hours detention. Unauthorized protest west of the Mongo, persons arrested, 25 months and counting in detention. Unauthorized protest east of the Mongo, shoot to maim. Unauthorized protest west of the Mongo, shoot to kill. Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Yerima. We should reiterate again, the primary goal of our request is to reduce violence and save life. And we strongly believe the United Nations Human Rights Council fact-finding mission will have immediate effect of quelling violence and saving life. Quoting Emma Johnson Simpson, the UN HRC has the power to cultivate the conditions for peace. And with this, I will hand over the mic to Madame Maximilian. She's going to update us on the current crisis and hopefully give us a headway on the way forward.
Thank you very much.
It's okay, it's okay.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Doctor. Let me please try in French because my English is not very well, but I understand very well. I'm very sorry about. Le réseau des défenseurs des droits humains que je représente couvre 8 pays de l'Afrique centrale. Donc le Cameroun aussi, le Tchad, le Congo-Brazzaville, la RDC, le Gabon, la RCA. Donc, pour comprendre la situation au Cameroun, il faut partir de l'adoption de la loi antiterroriste. J'ai une copie là, comme ça vous comprendrez là où je viens, mais c'est en français malheureusement. Il faut que vous ayez cette loi-là. C'est une loi qui a été adoptée le 23 décembre 2014, quand le Cameroun a décidé de lutter contre le terrorisme. Cette loi consacre la peine de mort et le renvoie pour tous ceux qui, entre guillemets, manifestaient même pacifiquement devant le tribunal militaire. Alors que tout le monde sait que les conventions et traités internationaux et régionaux refusent que les civils soient renvoyés devant le tribunal militaire. Pendant qu'on était en train de lutter pour que le Cameroun revoie cette loi, est née la crise dans les régions du nord-ouest, sud-ouest, la crise sociopolitique dite crise anglophone. Tout de suite, je voudrais vous rassurer ici que beaucoup de francophones ont dit qu'ils ne sont pas d'accord de la façon dont Paul Biya était en train de régler ce problème-là. Il n'y avait pas seulement les anglophones. Je peux vous dire que le REDAC compte au moins 450 membres. Et si je suis assise ici, c'est parce que le REDAC m'a donné le quitus de m'asseoir. Je ne peux pas venir m'asseoir seule. Donc ça veut dire qu'ils sont avec vous dans cette lutte. Parce que la conclusion que vous avez eue là m'a un peu effrayée. Avant même que je n'arrive là, on a encore blessé par balle un avocat et un militant de Camto parce qu'ils voulaient manifester. Donc c'est pour dire que la situation devient une situation générale. Donc, nous, notre travail, c'est de documenter les violations des droits humains, de faire les rapports et de faire du plaidoyer, parce que le REDAC a un statut d'observateur auprès de la Commission africaine des droits de l'homme et des peuples, et puis est dans un réseau panafricain qui est à Genève. Donc on collabore avec les mécanismes et les traités à Genève. La première observation, c'est que la brutalité avec laquelle le régime de Yaoundé, nous c'est comme ça qu'on l'appelle, a arrêté des avocats et des jeunes journalistes. D'ailleurs, vous savez que Mancho Bibixi reste toujours en prison dans des conditions difficiles. Moi, j'ai le privilège d'aller de temps en temps les voir. Je peux vous dire que c'est très difficile. Donc, à ce jour, pour ce que le REDAC a pu documenter, parce que je vais être bref, il y a au moins 2000 jeunes dans les prisons. Au moins 2000 jeunes de 18 à 24 ans Donc, vous voyez très bien que c'est toute une jeunesse qui est pratiquement dans les difficultés inouïes et qui sont dans des conditions très, très difficiles. Et chaque fois que je vais dans les prisons, quelques prisons, quand je sors de là, j'ai la chair de poule, j'ai les larmes aux yeux parce que je sais que je ne peux pas faire plus que cela. Alors, ils sont dans les prisons et ils sont renvoyés devant les tribunaux militaires. Souvent sans une interprétation de la langue, parce qu'ils ne comprennent pas français, certains ne comprennent pas anglais, il faut bien traduire en pidgin. Donc vous voyez que souvent ils ne savent même pas ce qu'on leur pose comme question. Quand vous êtes en face de ce genre de situation, si vous n'êtes pas fort de caractère, vous pouvez prendre les armes pour tuer même tous les militaires qui sont là. Et la composition du tribunal, c'est souvent les hauts gradés, donc les colonels, qui viennent avec tous leurs galons, devant des petits-enfants qui ont seulement manifesté. Donc, chaque fois, ils sont accusés d'actes de terrorisme, bien sûr, insurrection, atteinte à la patrie, et puis voilà, tout ce que vous voulez qui est mis dans la loi. Donc rien n'est mis de côté, donc tout est fait pour qu'ils soient condamnés. Certains ont été condamnés à des peines très lourdes, de 15 à 20 ans de prison ferme. Quand un enfant de 18 ans, on lui donne 20 ans de prison, ça veut dire qu'on a terminé toute sa vie, c'est fini. D'autres ne peuvent pas voir leurs parents parce que les parents sont à Bamenda pour certains, à Kumba pour d'autres. Ils ne peuvent pas payer le transport tout le temps pour venir. Donc, ils survivent. Certains n'ont même pas d'avocat parce qu'ils sont nombreux et les avocats, c'est du bénévolat. Et d'autres avocats refusent parce que, bon, personne ne veut être confronté à la question de Ambazonia contre l'État du Cameroun. D'autres ont pratiquement, excusez-moi le mot, pété les câbles, c'est-à-dire que psychologiquement, ils ne tiennent plus. Quand tu leur parles, ils ne savent plus où ils sont. Donc voilà la situation des détenus. Certains restent prévenus, donc depuis au moins 2 ans, ils ne sont même jamais allés devant le tribunal militaire. Quand on a arrêté le président Sissoko, le REDAC a clairement dit que l'État du Cameroun avait violé les conventions internationales, autant pour moi, parce que c'était un enlèvement. Tout le monde sait ça. Effectivement, on s'attendait que le gouvernement camerounais au moins s'aligne sur les conventions qu'il a lui-même ratifiées, que non, il passe outre. Et le procès que nous observons depuis, je pense qu'ils sont déterminés à condamner Sissoko et les autres à mort, si rien n'est fait rapidement. Quand vous êtes habitué à la cour, vous comprenez comment ça fonctionne. En 2017, le 1er octobre, c'est nous qui avions aussi fait nous avons fait la documentation et nous avons dit qu'il y a eu au moins 100 morts. Je ne voudrais pas que vous pleurez, parce que si vous pleurez, je ne vais plus te parler. Je ne suis pas venue là pour vous faire pleurer, je suis venue pour partager avec vous. Je sais que c'est difficile, mais vous croyez que c'est plus difficile pour moi que je suis au pays, avec tout ce que cela comporte comme menace, comme ceci. Alors si vous commencez à pleurer, c'est pour me dire de ne plus rentrer. Donc, s'il vous plaît. Donc, dans les 100 morts, nous avons identifié 38 de façon claire, parce qu'on ne pouvait pas identifier tout le monde, on n'avait pas accès à tout. Vous avez compris la réaction de la République. Donc, qui nous a traités de tous les mots, des valets des Ambazoniens, des valets de George Soros. Je cherche George Soros pour qu'il me donne beaucoup d'argent, parce qu'il semble qu'il me donnait déjà beaucoup d'argent. Mais comme je ne le connais pas, s'il vous plaît, si vous avez son numéro, donnez-moi. Je lui dis, mais vous ne pouvez pas être quelqu'un imaginaire. Il faut que vous me donniez là maintenant. Mais finalement, l'Église catholique fait du bon boulot. Ils nous ont suivis là-dedans. Je crois Amnesty a suivi, même si elle n'était pas sur place. Et d'autres ont dit qu'effectivement, il y avait au moins 100 morts. Et c'est ce rapport-là qui a amené les Nations Unies, y compris la Commission africaine des droits de l'homme, de demander une mission d'enquête d'établissement des faits. Après, la riposte, c'est à ce moment-là que c'est en novembre que le président Paul Biya, étant ici à Genève, je crois qu'il était ici, a déclaré la guerre ouvertement, parce que jusque-là, c'était les policiers qui commettaient ces bavures-là. Donc en novembre, il a déclaré la guerre. Donc il a envoyé les militaires, et non seulement les militaires, il a créé une unité spéciale qu'on appelle le BIR. C'est le bataillon d'intervention rapide qui ne rend compte qu'à la présidence. Donc c'est une machine à tuer. Tout le monde sait ça. Depuis que la machine à tuer est rentrée dans les régions du nord-ouest, sud-ouest, c'est le chaos total. À ce jour, j'ai visité le lieu Pigny, j'étais là-bas. Donc c'est pour cela que j'ai du mal à ce que quand je parle, que les gens pleurent. J'étais à Pigny quand il y a eu des massacres de Pigny, très fraîche. J'étais là, il y avait encore du sang. J'ai vu des populations qui vivent dans la misère totale. Et à côté de cette misère, quand je dis misère, c'est la misère, vraiment, c'est des gens qui vivent de l'agriculture de subsistance. Et à côté de cette misère, j'ai vu quelque chose qui a été construit par je ne sais qui. Et c'est là qu'il y a eu le carnage. Et quand j'ai pu enquêter avec mes collaborateurs, la conviction qui est la nôtre, c'est que c'est quelque chose qui a été mis en place par le gouvernement pour pouvoir, n'est-ce pas, pour avoir les indices, comme on dit, et ça a tourné comme ça a tourné. Sauf que 21 jeunes encore, qui n'avaient pas 24 ans, ont été massacrés dans ce petit village-là. Quand vous entendez village, c'est un petit coin. C'est vrai qu'il y a au moins 200 gendarmes qui ont été tués. Au moins 200 gendarmes. Qui les a tués, on n'a jamais su. C'est ça qu'il faut qu'on aille chercher, parce qu'on met ça sur la tête des... Je ne les appelle pas les Ambazoniens, excusez-moi, moi je les appelle les séparatistes. Ce n'est pas péjoratif, parce que chez nous, quand tu appelles Ambazoniens, c'est que c'est des terroristes. Donc nous, on met séparatistes pour que ça soit naturel. Et c'est le HCR qui a sorti les chiffres, et j'ai eu réunion avec eux. Je leur ai dit que les chiffres là ne sont pas corrects. Ils ont dit que il y a 30 000 déplacés internes et réfugiés. Je leur ai dit qu'il y a au moins 40 000 ou 50. Donc, ça, c'est ce que nous avons. Il y a, à ce jour, on a les défenseurs qui ont disparu dans le nord-ouest et le sud-ouest. On a notre collègue, Moua Franklin, Depuis août, il a disparu. Il a été allé faire une mission de documentation à Kumba. Jusqu'aujourd'hui, il a disparu. Il m'a laissé son épouse et 5 petits-enfants. Je ne sais même plus quoi faire. J'ai tout fait. Je suis allée voir le gouvernement, donc c'est un mutisme total. On a au moins 5 femmes défenseurs des droits de l'homme à Buea, à Bamenda, qu'on a cachées parce qu'elles sont recherchées. Leurs enfants, on les a éparpillés un peu partout. Après, les dégâts sur la déstructuration de la société est telle que quand vous allez à Bamenda, à Buea ou à Kumba, vous voyez très bien qu'il n'y a plus de vie. Il n'y a plus de vie. Nous avons demandé depuis qu'il y ait 3 choses. Donc, voilà à peu près ce que je voudrais dire par rapport à comment le conflit va aujourd'hui. Sur le plan des violations des droits humains, comme vous le savez, je crois que personne n'a plus le droit de manifester à Kumba. Vous allez être arrêté et vous allez être renvoyé devant le tribunal militaire. Je veux dire que ce soit Bamenda et autres. Il y a eu beaucoup de sorties, comme vous le savez, le cardinal Toumi qui a demandé que les anglophones fassent une conférence des anglophones pour savoir ce qui se passe. Mais la question fondamentale, c'est l'arrogance avec laquelle le régime de Yaoundé a fermé les yeux et les oreilles sur cette question qui, si on ne fait pas attention, puisque ça commence à venir maintenant au niveau de Douala, parce que les déplacés internes sont énormes. Et moi qui cache les enfants un peu partout à Douala et des gens qui sont en détresse, je peux vous dire, on sent déjà la tension. Donc si on ne trouve pas une solution durable rapidement, ce qui risque de se passer, ça va faire une guerre civile généralisée au Cameroun. Il ne faudra pas que quelqu'un dise qu'il n'a pas été au courant. En tout cas, aujourd'hui, je suis là, je vous le dis. Une guerre civile, pourquoi? Parce que le régime en face, aujourd'hui, confronte les uns contre les autres. Au point où les Bamlékais, maintenant, c'est contre les Bétis contre les Bassa. Donc, en réalité, c'est un mélange maintenant de tout. Et pour nous faire, n'est-ce pas, pour nous divertir à la question fondamentale qui est que la question du Nord-Ouest du Sud-Ouest se pose sur la dimension politique, économique et sociale. Qu'est-ce qu'on fait? Donc, comme il n'arrive pas à régler ça, il fait que des gens s'affrontent entre eux, et donc ça va devenir chacun, voilà, je ne t'aime pas, c'est l'autre qui a un problème, c'est pas moi, voilà. Le recrutement, tout l'argent du pays aujourd'hui va dans le recrutement des éléments du BIR et de la gendarmerie. Toutes les sorties du président, si le président sort, c'est pour aller donner des galons à la gendarmerie. Vous ne le verrez jamais aller dire, même aux gendarmes qui meurent là-bas, aller même rendre visite aux femmes, rien. Donc, je vais terminer pour ne pas monopoliser la parole. Je voudrais juste rappeler que la Commission africaine, les Nations Unies font beaucoup de choses. Elle a rappelé ce que les résolutions qui ont été prises et qui n'ont même jamais été mises en œuvre par l'État. Mais au niveau régional il faut que vous sachiez que la Commission africaine des droits de l'homme est allée dans le sens aussi des Nations Unies pour dire au Cameroun de laisser venir une mission d'établissement des faits. Et à la Commission africaine, il y a un rapporteur pays qui s'appelle Lumbu Rémy. Je peux vous mettre en contact. Depuis, on a essayé à ce qu'il dépose une lettre de visite pays. Le Cameroun n'a jamais répondu, mais on y travaille. Parce qu'il a en même temps le rapporteur spécial sur les défenseurs. Donc, les activistes qui sont arrêtés, il peut dire des choses si vous... Le REDAC a aussi porté plainte à l'État du Cameroun au niveau de la Commission pour la violation des articles 6 et 7, c'est-à-dire les arrestations et détentions arbitraires. La plainte a évolué. Ils nous ont répondu en disant qu'il faut qu'on apporte les signatures des victimes parce qu'il faut que les victimes acceptent pour que la plainte prospère. Nous en sommes là. Nous avons déjà une vingtaine, Bibixi, Mancho et autres, dont on est en train de collecter. Si vous avez d'autres victimes qui peuvent signer, qu'ils signent pour que la plainte prospère. Comme nous sommes sur le terrain, nous ne pouvons pas rester sans faire des propositions. Nous les avons faites. La première proposition pour nous, cette mission-là que nous demandons tous, il faut qu'on continue à faire le plaidoyer. La deuxième, c'est qu'il faut mettre en place un mécanisme de médiation. Nous avons œuvré dans ça en RCA. Vous venez de voir qu'on a signé un accord de paix quelque part à Banjul. Ça peut toujours... Donc, un mécanisme de médiation. Donc, on va trouver des personnalités qui ont l'habitude, n'est-ce pas, de faire ce genre de choses. On les connaît. L'autre proposition, c'est que dans cette médiation-là, il faut qu'on demande avec insistance le retrait, n'est-ce pas, des militaires dans les zones anglophones. Si on ne retire pas les militaires et les gens du BIR dans les zones anglophones, on ne peut pas parler de la paix. Donc, il faut qu'on les retire. Bien entendu, quand on les retire, ça va de soi que les autres acceptent de déposer des armes, parce qu'il y a quand même, il faut le dire, il y a quand même des armes aussi que les séparatistes ont. Et malheureusement, il s'est créé des groupes armés. C'est-à-dire qu'aujourd'hui, on les met sous les groupes armés, des bandits qui se sont créés pour arnaquer les gens, on les met sur la tête des séparatistes. C'est pour cela qu'il faudrait que les séparatistes, si la République accepte qu'eux aussi aillent dans ce sens-là de déposer les armes pour identifier les groupes armés qui n'ont rien à voir avec les séparatistes. Parce qu'aujourd'hui, dès que quelqu'un meurt, on dit c'est les Ambazoniens. Alors que tout le monde sait que les groupes se sont formés et qu'ils sèment le chaos. La troisième proposition, et c'était la dernière, c'est que la situation est arrivée à un niveau tel que nous ne pouvons plus parler d'un dialogue. Nous pensons qu'il faut plutôt une commission vérité, justice et réconciliation. La vérité, pourquoi? C'est parce qu'il faut que les faits soient établis. Pourquoi en est-on arrivé là? Qu'est-ce qui n'a pas marché? Et puis, donc, on saura qui est responsable de quoi. La justice, parce que dans ce genre de situation, moi, comme je vous dis, nous sommes sur le terrain, il y a des gens qui ne sont pas les commanditaires, qui sont les exécutants. Donc, on peut leur pardonner. C'est ça qu'on appelle la justice transitionnelle. Donc, quand quelqu'un a dit « on m'a envoyé, je suis vraiment désolé », on pardonne, de part et d'autre. Et une autre justice pénale où on renvoie des gens devant des tribunaux, ça peut être nationaux, internationaux, donc selon la gravité des faits. La réconciliation, parce qu'il faut aller discuter, y compris de la forme de l'État. Qu'est-ce que les gens veulent? Est-ce qu'on veut deux Cameroun Ou alors on veut un Cameroun dans divers fédéralismes, mais il faut qu'on laisse des gens en parler et que ça soit réglé par un référendum. Mais tout ça, ça ne peut que se faire lorsqu'il y a une commission réconciliation. Et dans ces réconciliations aussi, il faut indemniser. Il y a l'indemnisation psychologique. Je vous ai dit que je vois ces jeunes-là qui sont psychologiquement atteints. Il y a d'autres qui auront des indemnisations matérielles. Et puis, c'est ça qui va réconcilier les uns vis-à-vis des autres. Parce que même si on va aujourd'hui aux deux États, nous sommes frères. Et quand les gens sont frères, il y a des moments où ils peuvent être en bisbise, mais il y a un moment où ils s'entendent. Mais pour s'entendre, il faut que chacun porte ses responsabilités. Je vous remercie.
So, thanks, Madame Maximilian. Madame Maximilian said something very important, that what she is proposing for the way forward is something of truth, justice, and reconciliation, because it does not matter whether we are having two Cameroons. The people must always talk with another. And when people are together, there are fundamental principles of human rights that has to be respected no matter the form of the state. So I will hand over the mic to Mr. Julius. He is going to talk on the fundamental human rights premises of the Ambazonian struggle, and for the reason why we are appealing to the Human Rights Council to send the fact-finding mission. Over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Thank you. My name is Julius Nde. On behalf of the Sam Sawyer Center for Democracy and Human Rights and the Southern Cameroon Committee in Germany, we am here to make a presentation for a clarion call for an urgent United Nations intervention in the Southern Cameroon to avert the humanitarian crisis that's arising from the conflict between the Republic of Cameroon and the Southern Cameroon. Now, before I continue my presentation will be in three sections. The first part will be dealing with the defendants of why human rights abuses have been committed by the regime of Mr. Paul Biya. And the second part, I will focus on the premise of these fundamental human rights, taking note of specific examples to let you have a picture of what a horrific human rights abuse is going on. The third part, I will also be looking at the reasons why there is a need for an urgent UN call or to intervene in the situation in Cameroon. And we sum up with our clearance call. Before I continue to the presentation, I would like to remind all of you of the following quotation by a member of parliament of the Republic of Cameroon expressing the impact of human rights abuses in the Southern Cameroon, and the end goal is to resist until justice is restored. I quote, "When injustice becomes law, resistance becomes a duty." That was from Honorable Wiba Joseph in Yaoundé, 2017. Now, I go to the fundamental human rights premise of Southern Cameroon Ambazonian struggle. The respect for human rights in Cameroon and Southern Cameroon in particular is more often the exception of the rule of law than the rule itself. Some African leaders, including that of Cameroon led by President Paul Biya, claim cultural relativism in defending the withholding of fundamental human rights to women, children, and men. President Biya claimed the need to repress individual human rights and freedom to preserve stability, extension of his term of rule, and maintaining himself in power as long as he is alive. He opposes the protection of minority rights, including language and culture, saying it simply promotes what he calls sectarianism and his so-called treasonable secessionist movements. In brief, the rights and freedom of Southern Cameroonians and Ambazonians have been sacrificed at the altar of cultural, economic growth, political stability, and national unity. All these human rights violations, atrocities, and abuses have led to what now is a grave humanitarian crisis in the Gulf of Guinea region with severe consequences on regional peace, security, and economic disaster. The fundamental premise of human rights in Southern Cameroon to be it in the social, political, cultural, economic, as defined in United Nations international law, to all signatory countries, including the La République du Cameroon, are classified in 3 points as follows. The right to freedom of expression, that is demonstration, to protest, and freedom of press in ideology. Secondly, the right to liberty, to life, and to be protected. Thirdly, the right to pursue happiness in an association, and the form of state in which everyone should live peacefully and pursue their dreams. The following are typical examples of human rights violations, atrocities, and abuses which are currently being inflicted on the people of Southern Cameroon. There are enormous, but the following example will just highlight for you to get a picture of the 3 premises. 1. A ban on trade unions and professional bodies, arrest and imprisonment. When the people of Southern Cameroon 2016, under lawyers and teachers and civics organizations, make demonstrations, they were banned in January 2017. A lot of the members were abducted, arrested, and put in jail without any trial, and that is complete violation of a democratic and free society. Point 2, internet shutdown for the whole Southern Cameroon community. The Cameroon government shut down internet in Anglophone regions for over 150 days. This took place between January and April, and also in October 2017. It is, and also late in 2017. The cost of this internet blockade has been estimated by many analysts to be 38 million US dollars as lost income for the people of Southern Cameroon and the country, Cameroon. There has been constant taking of electricity to hide military conduct targeting killings at night in the Southern Cameroon. Point 3, mass killings. The Cameroon military has carried out mass killings in the Anglophone territories. Some of the most horrific scenes, including the killings of 27 youths in Menka Pinyin, which according to eyewitnesses, one of these such as the main leader of the front opposition leader, John Furundi, who visited the scene, commented as follows. He visited and spoke to some people. According to the reporters, he said one of the boys who was shot and was taken to a health center in Santa by his 2 brothers. Soldiers came later to the health center, took the 3 boys to the village and killed them. Within a period of 48 hours between that May 23rd and 25th, 2017, over 40 youths were killed. The military went back to Kwakwa and carried out massive killings of unarmed civilians, women and children, and burning of property. Massive killings have also taken place in Chomba, in Bamenda, in Ekona, in Bali, and Babesi, and the corpses are burned in order to hide evidence. There has also been evidence or allegation of the use of chemical weapons by the regime on its people. Burning down of private property, homes and businesses. The Cameroon military has burned business, markets, private homes and property. More than 170 villages in the Southern Cameroon have been wiped out and destroyed by the military, setting on fire. Examples like in Kwakwa, in Munyenge, in Kake, and in Jikwa, just to mention a few. This has been horrific, and people have been rendered homeless and now in bushes and some escaping. Point 5, extrajudicial killings and murders. Many people have been attacked and killed intentionally, including a Reverend Father Kizop of Boya Diocese, the Southwest region, a Kenyan father in Manfe, an American missionary in Bambili, and a Ghanaian pastor in Batibo, and a brother in Kumbo Diocese Parish. All these have been targeted killings without any exemption by the military. Target killings and tortured. The case of Sam Sawyer, which now formed one of the bases of the organization, which is also fight for human rights, who was slain to death by the army and disclosed over internet, is really horrific and one cannot imagine. Killings of families in Ekona in the Southwest region is also another horrific incident. The case of Mami Api and Padan, all people who were burned in their homes and they cannot escape the fire that was because they are elderly and their inability to run. It's also horrific and one cannot imagine. Point 7, the brutality by security forces and rape. At the beginning of the revolution in 2016 and 17, the University of Boya students were attacked in hostels, pulled out, dragged on mud, beaten, and raped. Likewise, in the University of Bamenda, students were taken out from hostel and shot targetedly by the military. It is so disheartening. Another aspect of human rights violation, just to election, is the abductions and imprisonment without fair trial. The case of President Seseko and the 10 abducted in Nigeria without any extradition treaty between Cameroon and Nigeria is a typical example. They were bundled like cargo without any clear respect to human rights. Another 46 refugees from Taraba State of Nigeria were equally abducted and abandoned under the such condition. This is clearly in violation of the UN human rights of refugees protection wherever they are found in the world. The Biya regime has refused to address genuinely the conflict between the Republic of Cameroon and Southern Cameroon. The president of Cameroon has refused to address this problem, but rather he declared war in 2017, the people of Southern Cameroon. Even when opposition parliamentarians staged a strike to discuss the issue in parliament, the Biya-controlled parliament refuses to discuss anything on the crisis, saying that it was constitutionally forbidden to talk about the form of the state and what people should do. This is a clear message that the people of Southern Cameroon have no voice and are treated as a conquered people in their own territory, which they are genuine reasons and land. The question now is, why is the UN silent in the face of massive atrocities, killings, and destruction to humanity? Now, the reasons why the UN should intervene immediately in Southern Cameroon and Ambazonia are enormous. There are enormous obstacles to the resolution of the conflict between La République du Cameroon and the Southern Cameroon and Ambazonia, which all warrant an urgent intervention by the UN. These include the rejection of dialogue and negotiation by President Paul Biya with the Southern Cameroon interim government officials, headed by President Seseko and the acting interim president Sako. The use of military force and extrajudicial killings by the regime has been going unabated on a daily basis as we speak. The refusal to face the root causes of the so-called Anglophone crisis and the denial of the its existence by the Biya regime has been a defined to this horrific outcome and atrocities. The fact that the international community, even though aware of atrocities and crimes against humanity, remain silent. Human rights groups, including Amnesty International and the Sam Sawyer Center and other bodies, had been making an urgent need to end the conflict in Southern Cameroon. The government of President Paul Biya's use of anti-terrorist law for political purposes and gains in the Southern Cameroon. Another reason why this horrific situation is still continuing is that thousands of Anglophone activists, innocent citizens, have been jailed by the government using anti-terrorist law without any fair trial to any court, and the situation at stake. Without any form of pressure from the international community, this atrocity will continue. Genocide similar to Rwanda is currently going on its way in the Southern Cameroon and going unabated. In short, there have been many killings in the communities in Southern Cameroon, including children, women, and elderly people. Homes completely burned down. Some are hiding in villages, forests, and babies, expected mothers, and elderly are actually in dungeon conditions which are horrible to the world. They live and are exposed to rain, snakes, danger from government soldiers without any food or medicine at the moment as we speak. It is also estimated about 400 internally displaced people and over 100,000 refugees taking place in several countries, including Nigeria and other countries in Africa and around the world. The devastating pain this, of course, is unbelievable. The trauma, the fear, and the hopelessness of the local population facing such atrocities beyond description. These atrocities constitute crimes against humanity and need to be investigated urgently. As a result of this burning, the military has caused mass displacement and refugees. Thousands of people have been rendered homeless, entire lives, investment destroyed, families members killed, hiding in bushes for their dear lives. There is now a humanitarian crisis in the Southern Cameroon that needs to be addressed urgently. The silence of the UN warrants a call, a questioning of the never again report of the UN after the 1994 genocide in Rwanda. On this note, I am joining this clarion's call that the UN should intervene in the Southern Cameroon to save life, property, and humanity in Southern Cameroon. The disaster and the consequence will be enormous to the region and to the world at large, which we are yet to get to its consequences. Thank you.
So, thanks, Mr. Julius. To round up the session, Derek Brett is going to talk to us about the importance of civil societies towards handling petitions like the one we are having today, the Human Rights Council. Yeah.
Yes, thank you, Bernadette. I'm a bit surprised to find myself on this platform today. It was only last weekend that I heard about this movement, and I don't claim any expertise in the region. In fact, I've never been to Cameroon. By chance, as a child, I happened to be in neighbouring Nigeria on Independence Day on the 1st of October 1960 and have a clear memory of that. Moreover, listening to some of the earlier presentations this morning, the word Mamfe suddenly came out, and I remembered that at about the same time I met the Cameroons through the books by the British naturalist Gerald Durrell, whose attitudes these days would be considered rather colonialist, but who made 2 wildlife collecting trips to the British Cameroons, of which he wrote in books, showing a great affection for the country and the people. But that is more or less the extent of my local knowledge. I did pick up some literature last summer when I met a group of people demonstrating underneath the chair in the Place des Nations, and that was the first time I heard the word Ambazonia. And then last autumn, at our International Fellowship of Reconciliation Council, I met for the first time Emma Jordan Simpson and Matt Mayer, who, with our other New York representatives, have been taking some interest in this struggle for some time. And so what am I doing here today? Well, basically, the International Fellowship of Reconciliation is about to celebrate its official centenary. Fellowships of Reconciliation were set up in various countries during the First World War, and in 1919 they got together and formed an international umbrella organisation, which is the organisation that I represent here at the United Nations in Geneva. For a century, our organisation has worked for peace, for non-violence, and for the peaceful resolution of conflicts all over the world. Here in Geneva, we have done a lot to support persecuted minorities in our work at the Human Rights Council. This has included Kurds in Turkey, it has included Tibetans, it has included Bedouins in Israel and Egypt, and it has included the people of the Western Sahara. Now, the Western Sahara, I think, is a very important place to mention in this context, because some decades ago, the Polisario movement, which represents the people of the Western Sahara, occupied by Morocco in 1975, renounced violence and vowed to continue their campaign through solely peaceful means. This is very important because legitimacy is far easier to obtain if you are not associated with violent insurrection, no matter how good your cause. It has meant that the Western Sahara cause has got widespread international support. There is constant pressure on Morocco. The African Union has put Morocco under pressure about its illegal occupation and exploitation of that country. So, incidentally to some other correspondence last week, Matt Mayer mentioned this meeting and encouraged us to come along and be associated with the movement, which is what brings me here today. And what I want to talk about is basically strategy. In order to get this commission of inquiry, which you are seeking, you will need to have a resolution proposed at the Human Rights Council by member states. It will have most strength if it is proposed by the states, particularly the Francophone states of the Central African region, but more generally by African states, not Nigeria, which is a rather interested party in this conflict, but other African states would be very strong. Whether we have time to persuade a state to bring forward a resolution at this next session of the Human Rights Council. I don't know, it depends how much diplomatic talking you have done already with them. However, our civil society organisations can also help in this, and there is an important deadline coming up next Monday. On Monday is the deadline for non-governmental organisations to make written submissions to the next session of the Human Rights Council. If we can get a text, and non-governmental organisations, particularly reputable ones like Civicus, to support it, this will be part of the documentation for the Council and will attract attention and will go permanently on the record. Next Monday is also, it is the date of the organisational meeting for the Council. It is when states give the first indication of the resolutions they are going to promote, etc. It is also the date when non-governmental organisations must put in applications to hold side events during the Council. If nothing has already been done on this, it is important that we try and get a coalition of NGOs together, a coalition of reputable NGOs. You've mentioned Civicus, but Amnesty International has been mentioned. I don't know if we've got the links to involve Amnesty International or Human Rights Watch at this late stage, but if we can get a side event at the Human Rights Council on a subject like this, it is likely that a number of diplomats will come along, quite apart from other members of the NGO community and UN staff, and this will help to raise awareness in a very great respect of the issue. Rather less urgently, we've got a month until the Council commences. There is the opportunity to make oral statements, which are brief, but are heard by all those sitting in the Council room, and which go again in written form onto the permanent online record, and in fact in video form onto the I can't remember what it's called, the webcast, and the webcast archives. So obviously a situation like this calls for an oral statement under item 4 of the Council agenda. Human rights situations in any part of the world which demand the Council's attention, but it is also important to look to see which special procedures are reporting at the session, and also to look at the communications report of the special procedures to see whether they have recently brought any of the complaints about the situation in Ambazonia to the attention of the Cameroonian government. The communications report comes online these days with links which tell you about 6 months after the event, give you the full text of all exchanges between the special procedures and the government concerned. There are limited slots for NGOs to intervene in the interactive dialogue with each special procedure. About 10 NGOs get to take the floor very much on a first-come, first-served basis. So it is important to check which special procedures are reporting at this session, which may be relevant. I am sure that human rights defenders and torture are in the first are reporting on the first days of the session. Unfortunately, the battery on my laptop went down before I could check which others are at this session, but it is on the advanced programme of work. And of course, it is not just a job for this session. We have to look at future sessions, no matter how much progress we make at this session. And from what I've been hearing this morning, obviously minorities, the rights of minorities, the working group on arbitrary detention, the rapporteur on freedom of assembly, the rapporteur on freedom of expression, the rapporteur on extrajudicial executions, the rapporteur on disappearances, all of these should be addressed about the situation, encouraged to make communications with the government of Cameroon, but also when they report to the council, an opportunity should be taken to raise the issue. The other thing, and I think the final thing I have to say, is not to be too optimistic about the pace at which things happen. Putting pressure through the international community is a slow and patient game. And even if we get a resolution and it is passed and there is to be a commission of inquiry, past experience is that it will find that it is not given access to the country, but has to collect information from outside and report back. Nevertheless, it is worth having, because the information which at the moment we are putting forward as non-governmental organisations, when it is reported by a commission of inquiry, even though they have basically noted what we've told them, becomes an official UN document and becomes what the UN says and has far more weight in the political sphere. The other part of the Human Rights Council process that we ought to be aware of is the Universal Periodic Review. Now, unfortunately, Cameroon went through that last May, so it won't come up again until about 2022. But I did see that Civicus and Red Hack made a submission to the last session of the Universal Periodic Review. Submissions really do want to go in for the next session, because that makes states who wish to intervene in the working group on the Universal Periodic Review take notice, and they may, well, in numbers, take up these issues with Cameroon when that review comes up. And I'm sorry, that is 2022, but I don't think we will have won the war by that stage. Thank you.
Good. So thank you for everybody of you for these presentations, quite exhaustive and I think interesting. I don't know if there are some questions or comments about these presentations. Yeah. Also, as a journalist here in Switzerland, that's also my first time. I heard about Ambazonia, but it was not very clear, yes, for me. And now I think, thanks to you, we have a better idea of the region and problems and so on. So thanks. Okay, please. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. My name is Mfohan Sinchanji. I own a news website called Cameroon News Agency. I'm one of the journalists who have had to flee from Cameroon due to the conflict and government's high-handedness on journalists, imprisoning them, torturing them, arresting, and what have you. I want to dwell on the point of Derek, who talked on how prepared are you as far as negotiation is concerned with other countries to submit it. We know that the Central African sub-region, they are like birds of the same feathers with Cameroon's president. They are dictators who should say things clear. How far have you gone to make sure that you work with other countries so that they could submit this? What is your relationship like with them? Second question goes to the executive director of REDAC, Madame Maximilienne. Vous avez proposé 3 points très pertinents comme les solutions. Est-ce que vous avez soumis ces points au gouvernement camerounais pour que les choses soient claires? Thank you.
Let me take the first question. When we are working within the French African community, I don't want us to have some sort of a blanket thinking. We also have strong Pan-Africanist countries within the Francophone Africa. And those are the countries we are trying to lobby, to appeal, and to make sure that they see reason with us, that Africa can only survive. Africa can only at least live the African dream the African Union is claiming to prepare the future generation for. Only if all part of Africa you have some sort of reasonable development. And development comes only with peace and justice. So yes, we are talking to key Pan-African within the French region. And just like a director said, diplomacy and advocacy, it takes time. So we have to just continue doing what we think is our role, and submitting this petition is also one mechanism to push the UN, and especially now that Cameroon is also a member of that Human Rights Council, that the Cameroon government has a higher responsibility also to model his own accountability. So we have to put that the institutions to test. Mm-hmm. I yield.
Merci beaucoup. Je voudrais d'abord, avant de répondre à cette question, ajouter qu'il est important de parler avec les autres membres de l'Union africaine. Nous sommes à la Commission africaine tous les 6 mois. Donc, je sais que la Commission africaine, c'est un problème qui le concerne de plus près. Donc, s'il y a un consortium pour le plaidoyer, ça ne peut qu'être une bonne chose. Moi, j'ai déjà discuté avec certains d'entre vous en leur disant que souvent, quand il y a la Commission africaine, vous pouvez prendre un panel pour que les gens comprennent un peu la situation politique, parce que nous, on parle des violations des droits humains et tout ça, là, mais il y a toute une dimension politique pour que les gens comprennent. La deuxième chose, c'est que la Commission africaine a pris une résolution, et je voulais dire que cette résolution peut être ajoutée pour, n'est-ce pas, encourager les membres du Conseil à l'utiliser. En 2018, la Commission africaine a pris une résolution 004 sur les violations excessives des libertés fondamentales dans le nord-ouest sud-ouest. Donc, elle peut être ajoutée pour un document de plaidoyer auprès des autres diplomates. Le rapporteur spécial sur la liberté d'association et de réunion, il est ici, c'est un collègue à moi. Il s'appelle Voulet Clément. Je devais m'avoir une réunion avec lui là à midi. Donc je ne sais pas si on veut le rattraper. C'est quelqu'un à qui je peux vous mettre directement en contact pour continuer comme d'ailleurs le rapporteur spécial pays au niveau de la Commission africaine. Donc je crois que tout ce monde-là, vous devez être en contact pour mieux comprendre. Alors les propositions du REDAC, non seulement nous les avons adressées au gouvernement, mais nous les avons officiellement publié. Mais nous sommes maintenant à la phase d'identifier les noms, parce que dès que vous avez dit ça, il faut identifier les personnes que vous pensez qu'elles doivent être parmi les personnalités qui peuvent faire influencer quelque chose. Donc, nous avons même identifié les gens comme les Thabo Mbeki, Hélène Johnson, Kagame justement, et d'autres encore. Nous sommes en pourparlers. Effectivement, c'est pas facile parce que il faut qu'il y ait une volonté politique derrière, de deux choses lignes, où il y a une volonté politique, ou alors il y a une pression qui vient de toutes les institutions pour que ça se passe comme ça. On était bien avancé avec Kagame parce qu'il était président de l'Union africaine, et comme c'est quelqu'un qui est un peu correct quand même parmi les présidents, malheureusement on est confronté à un problème parce que c'est ICC qui a pris la présidence de l'Union africaine. Et c'est quelqu'un qui est aussi un peu comme Paul Biya. Donc, mais comme la commission africaine va se passer là-bas, nous allons partir là-bas, on va lui parler tranquillement de cela, on verra bien. Et là, oui, le gouvernement est au courant. Ils ont clairement dit qu'ils ne veulent rien à savoir. Vous savez qu'ils ont mis en place, au lieu de cette commission qu'on demande, depuis 2017 d'ailleurs qu'on demande ça, hein, ils ont mis en place, chaque fois ils viennent prendre quelque chose, ce que nous avons dit, mais ils découpent, ils ont mis en place un comité de désarmement, de réintégration des Ambazoniens. Alors que dans la commission vérité et dans la médiation, effectivement, c'est là qu'on devait mettre, n'est-ce pas, ce désarmement collectif des uns et des autres. Donc vous voyez, donc, ils sont au courant, ils savent très bien ce qu'on met dedans, mais ils piquent une idée, ils mettent ça en sachant que ça ne va pas marcher. Mais c'est une question de rapport de force. Voilà. Plus on est ensemble, plus on est nombreux, plus on dit que c'est ça qu'il faut, plus ça va se passer.
Okay, please.
Just to say briefly, of course, I've only just come into this issue, so I haven't yet talked to any states about Ambazonia. However, I will have to brief myself on what states my colleagues in New York have spoken to. And we are trying in our organisation to build up the cooperation between the different our different UN offices, because of course we have complementary roles, if you like. There is more diplomatic pressure that can be brought in New York, but on the other hand, NGOs have far better access in Geneva, particularly through the Human Rights Council. So we will be working on it.
Yes, Francis is still representing AIPC as well. Yeah, I have a question, particularly to you, Derek. You've reversed with the UN institutions. Lately, we know that UN has been going, the refugee agency, they've been going to Cameroon, probably trying to create an office. So I think they are very much aware of the killings. For me, is it something baffles me? Is it kind of hypocrisy that you see people dying and then you come back to Geneva and then you're expecting NGOs to come and then just tell you the same story, what you have already in your books? So it's a bit complicated to explain that to the common Southern Cameroonian that, we saw UN cars floating Buea, Bamenda, they were investigating. We even know some of the people who went to the Cameroons. They're in Geneva. And at some point, we are in Geneva, it's like a sequence. We're doing it every year, every session. And we meet the same people on the corridors of the UN. They have two versions. You're out of there, you're sipping a beer with them, to tell you a different story. When you're in there, it's a different story. So the fact-finding missions or the missions they go to the Cameroons, they have gone there, either officially or unofficial. How can we counter that? How can we, like, for me, it's a bit complicated that we sing the same song. So for me, there's some kind of hypocrisy. I don't know. Yeah, what do you think about that? Thank you.
What you're describing is the diplomatic world, basically. And you must remember that the UN's hands are rather tied. I mean, I don't know the details. It would be interesting to see what UNHCR has reported on what it's found in Cameroon. But the UN cannot, the Office of the High Commissioner, for instance, cannot issue a report on the basis of informal investigations. It has to have been mandated to send an official mission before it can actually make an official report on the situation, or be asked by the Human Rights Council to look into the situation and report. And of course, when they look into the situation, yes, they are actually more likely to get information from NGOs than access to the country in order to see for themselves. So there is that aspect, but the other aspect is that you must realise, yes, UNHCR, that's another a good example to bring in, that the work of civil society is complementary to that of the United Nations officers. We just have to all work together slowly on these issues, and as I said before, progress can seem painfully slow, particularly to those on the ground, but that does not mean that progress does not come. If I give you the example of the field I've specialised most in, which is conscientious objection to military service, when the Universal Declaration on Human Rights was being drafted in 1948, there was a proposal that the right of conscientious objection to military service be included. It wasn't. We didn't get any mention of that right again in the United Nations, despite several NGOs constantly arguing for it, until 1979. And that was only because Ghana was persuaded in a resolution against apartheid South Africa to call on countries to give asylum to those avoiding military service in forces imposing apartheid. And it was not again until the 1990s that any judicial interpretation of the fact that this right came under the freedom of religion appeared, and not until 2006 that there was actual case law, and not until 2011 that the European Court of Human Rights came in line, instead of saying, no, this is something that is completely within the area of individual countries. One does have to take the long view and keep plugging, but success does come eventually.
If there is no more comments, maybe I would like to thank you very much for this these presentations and comments and answers, and wish you all the best. So, thanks again. Yeah.
So, Vita, and then there is coffee and refreshment
Yeah,
outside, so people can socialize a bit, and then
Exactly.
Then see you hopefully next time again.